उसमें नहीं, वो भी ठीक से डाउनलोड करना अभी करते हैं। एक पार्ट तो किया था।
हरि ओम गणानां त्वा गणपतिगुं हवामहे कविं कवीनाम् उपमश्रवस्तमं ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पदः भूदिभिः सीदसादनं श्रीमहागणपतये नमः। प्रणो देवी सरस्वती वाजेभिर्वाजिनीवती दीनामवित्र्यवतो वाग्देव्यै नमः। श्रीसरस्वत्यै नमः। गुरवे सर्वलोकानां विषये भवरोगिणां निधये सर्वविद्यानां श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। गुरुब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं भारकरुणासिन्धुं ज्ञानदं शान्तरूपिणं श्रीचन्द्रशेखरगुरुं प्रणमामि मुदान्वहम्। सिन्दूरारुणविग्रहां त्रिणयनां माणिक्यमौळीस्फुरत्तारानभयकशेखरां स्मितमुखीं मापीनवक्षोरुहां पाणिभ्यां मणिपूर्णरत्नचषकं रक्तोत्पलं बिभ्रतीं सौभ्यां रत्नघटस्थरक्तचरणां ध्यायेत् परामम्बिकाम्. Okay. Again, today we are going to see the chapter 2 in Sri Kamakshi Vilasam. As I was explaining, the first 8 or 9 chapters, not much by way of story or happening. It's basically explaining various important kshetrams in Kanchipuram, and the greatness of Kanchipuram is being told in the Kanchipuram and the various shrines in Kanchipuram, and how and why they are so great. They are explained. So in that order, having discussed the overall Kanchipuram in chapter 1, the chapter 2, they are describing the Sri Varadaraja temple, or in nowadays I think they call it the Vishnu Kanchipuram. So what are the temples there? What are various deities who are there, and in what order they are located. அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு this in the later part of this chapter they explain how this Vishnu Kshetram is a very important Kshetram, very Punya Kshetram. Even if you reside there for some time, you get great palan. And in order to explain that how sacred that place is, they tell you a story. That is what is happening in the second chapter. The second chapter, as they explain in this Vishnu Kanchi or the Sri Varadaraja temple and all the temples together in that area, they account for, there are, as he says, Ekam Kramad Charitre Eko Vigneshwarastata Skandastatra Eko Vigneshwara, one Vigneshwara, Skanda, one Kartikeya, Chatur Durga, 4 Durga Kshetras, Trayo Rudra, 3 Shiva Shikshas, and Ashtau Janardanaha. So 8 Vishnu Kshetras, Mudrastu Tat Pancha, 5 mudras, 5 symbols which are important in that temple complex. And then Chatur Tirtha, 4 important Tirtha. Those, so one Ganesha, 1 Skanda, then 4 Durgas, then 3 Shivas, then 8 Vishnu Kshetras, and then 5 Mudras in the Varadaraja temple, and then 4 Tirthas. So this chapter explains what those various shrines are in this particular Vishnu Kanchipuram or in and around Sri Vardaraja temple. That's what we are going to see in the as we go along. So don't worry too much about the direction. They explain southeast direction, northwest direction, 5 miles, 3 miles, and all that. I don't think it is very relevant for our understanding of the significance of that place. So we will read it along. So, Papa, Papa Parimalollase Vasita Adarapallavam Mukam Varadarajasya Mugdasmitamupasmahe. So Markandeya offers his respects to Sri Varadaraja. Papa Parimalollase Vasidadarapallavam Mukam Varadarajasya Mugdasmitamupasmahe. The smile face with a very gentle smile that smile remains one of a very gentle flower which is fully fragrant. Papa Parimalollasa Vasitha Adara Pallava, very tender, very fresh leaves, a very fresh flower, and very fully fragrant flower. And that how beautiful that flower will be. See, similar to that, see, Varadaraja bears a very gentle smile, and his face is very attractive. Papa Parimalollasa Vasidadara Pallavam Mukam Varadarajasya Muktasmitam Upasmahe. I offer my respects. That is Markandeya offering his respects to Varadaraja. Then Itistutva Namaskritya Varadasya Mukashriyam Rajanam Suratam Drishpa Vachanam Chedam Abhravit. So having offered his respect to Sri Varadaraja, Markandeya turns towards the king Sri Surata and continues his explanation of, a Vyakhyanam about Sri Kamakshi and the Kshetrams. Okay. Rajanam Suratam Drishpa Vachanam Chedamabravit Markandeya Uvacha. Then the first thing is, where is this Varadaraja Kshetram? So that is why the heading says Kanchyam Varadaraja Kshetra Nirupanam. So the explanation about the establishment of Sri Varadaraja Kshetram. Atha Tatra Nrupasreshta Kanchi Nagar Bhuthale Kshetrangigakya Durgaya आग्नेये पञ्चविंशतः पौरन्दरेशस्तत्रास्ते तदृशे पञ्चविंशके आस्ते पाञ्चालिनी तस्याः प्रत्यग्द्वात्रिशतं शतः अस्ति सिंहालयस्तस्योदीच्यां द्वात्रिंशदंशके तत्र क्षेत्राङ्गिका दुर्गा प्रागुक्ता सा च वर्तते यदत् चतुर्दिग्मध्यस्थं वासस्थानं सदा हरेः तस्मात् हरिक्षेत्रं काञ्च्याम् आग्नेयभूतलम्. So he says, similar to the description of Kanchipuram as the center and various towns and cities around as the prakarams or the surrounding those in three different circles. It was explained in the first chapter. Here, keeping the Sri Varadaraja Swami temple in the center, the various shrines which surround the Sri Varadaraja temple in all the directions are explained. What are those temples? Yetat Chaturdig Madhyastam Vasasthanam Sada Harehe. That Sri Varadaraja temple is in the middle, and all the four directions there are various temples. The first temple, Kshetrangikakya Durgayaha Agneye Panchavinshataha. So one temple with the southeast direction. So he will keep on explaining the four directions. The first temple is the Kshetrangi temple, and then Paurandresasta Tatraste Takshaye Panchavinshake. That means south of that the temple of this Kshetrangi, there is a Paurandare Swami. So Paurandare Swami Aste Panchalini Tasyaha. So if you proceed further and the same circular direction, then you see the Panchalini Durga temple. Aste Panchalini Tasya Pratyek Dwadrimsadastha Asti. Continuing on that circle, you go Asti Simhalaya temple. Simhalayas Tat Udichyam on the northern side, Simhalayeswara, Dvatrimsadasake Tatra. Then you continue this and then come to the same place where you started, which is the Chaitrangi Durga. So, Tatra Chaitrangika Gupta, Prat Gupta Sacha Vartade. So, if you start from the southeast direction and go in a circle, so first you start with Chaitrangi Durga, and then you come to Paurandaresha Swami, and then from after Paurandaresha, you continue along the circle. Then you have Simhasala temple, and then continue again. You come to the Chaitrangi Durga. If this is the circumambulation, in the middle of that circle is Sri Vardaraja temple. Tasmat एतच्चतुर्दिग् मध्यस्थं वासस्थानं सदा हरेः तस्मात् तत् हरिक्षेत्रं काञ्च्याम् आग्नेयभूतलम्. In the southwest of that southeast of Kanchi Kshetram, Kamakshi temple, this Vardaraja temple is there. So this is the Harikshetram. Yo dadati Harikshetre danam patartya bhavatah danam yatartya bhavatah कोटिदान फलो भूत्वा विष्णुलोकं स गच्छति. So whoever gives even small gifts, it expands 1 crore times, and therefore this is his punyam, the good deeds bear fruits equal to 1 crore times. Therefore this kshetram is called Punyakoti Kshetram. Yo dadadi Harit Kshetre Danam Yadharjya Bhavata hai Koti Dana Palo Bhutva. That is 1 crore times that the benefit is increased, and therefore the Kshetram is called Punyakoti Kshetram. So Koti Dana Palo Bhutva Vishnu Lokam Sagachati. Accordingly, he obtains the Vaikuntha Loka Padam. That is the greatness of the Sri Vardaraja temple, that Harikshetram. That is what is explained here. Then Dananam Punyathat Paryat Tat Koti Guna Sankhya Punya Koti iti Vikyadam. Because the palan increases 1 crore times, according to whatever good deed you do, the effect of it is expanded 1 crore times. And for this reason, that Kshetram is called Punyakoti iti Vikyadam Harikshetra Dharadhalam. It is called Punyakoti Kshetram. That's Sri Kanchipuram, the place where the Vardaraja temple is located. Now, Tatra Kshetrangika Durga. So now they are going to start the various temples which are there in that area. Tatra Kshetrangi Durgaya Vaknau Dvatrimshatadamsake Dakshinavarta Vignesho Vartate Sarvakamadah. As usual, they start with Vigneshwara temple. That Vigneshwara temple is called is a Dakshinavarta Vigneshwara. Dakshinavarta Vigneshwara means Dakshina means to the right. Vama is left. Dakshina is right. Dakshina Avarta means his trunk is bent toward the right side. But in Tamil we call it Valamburi, right? So then Vadapi Ganapati is supposed to be having the Valambari on the right side. And so in Conch also we say Dakshinavarta Conch. Dakshinavarta Conch, Valamburi Chang. So the same Dakshinavarta Vigneshwara. So Dakshinavarta Vignesho Vartade Sarvakamadaha. The one who provides all the benefits to the devotees, that Vigneshwara is there. Because he has got this trunk turned towards the right, he is called Dakshinavarta Vigneshwara. Tatra Kshetrangi Durgaya Vakno Dvatrim Sadamsake Dakshinavarta Vignesho Vartade Sarvakamadaha. Avignaya Pura Brahma Vajamedi Tamarchede Tat Purvabhage. So in this Avignaya Pura Brahma Vajamedi Samarched. So when Brahma started performing the Ashwamedha Yagnam, for what reason? Because he wanted to get rid of a curse. So that is another story which will be told later. Avignaya Pura Brahma Vajimede Tamarchede. So in the beginning of the Ashwamedha Yajnam that he performed, Brahma installed this Vigneshwara and he prayed to this Vigneshwara. So for what? For removal of all obstacles. Avignaya Brahma Pura Vajimede Tamarchet. So he had performed the worship of Vigneshwara there. Then Tat Purvabhage, to the east of the temple, Dvekamshe Kumara Kritikadmajaha. So there is the temple of Subramanya Kartikeya also there on the eastern side of that Vigneshwara. Tat Purvabhage Tvekamshe Kumara Kritikadmajaha Sadhanaya Puradhatra Vajimede Samarchitaha. So once again, he did not only install the Vigneshwara, he also is consecrated the Subramanya temple also there as part of his Vajapayee Yagam, and at that time he worshipped Kartikeya there. Sadhanaya Pura Datra is Brahma. Sadhanaya Pura Datra Vajimede Samarchitaha. Tasya Dakshe means south. Dutiyamshe Durga Panchalika Smrita. So we already explained the Panchalika temple, which is there. So now we have explained the Vigneshwara, one Vigneshwara and one Kartikeya. Now we are proceeding to discuss the various Durgas. So Tasya Dakshe Dutiyamshe Durga Panchalika Smrita Suvasin Archana Prita Sitha Brahma Aswamedhake. So as when he was performing the Ashwamedha Yajnam, and as part of the Daswamedha Yajnam, he had to perform Suhasini Pujas, and for that purpose, he had installed the Panjalika Durga temple there. So, Sadhanaya Puradatra Vajived Tasit Dakshe Dvitiyamse Durga Panchalika Smrita Suvasin Archanam Prita Sthita Brahma Ashwamedhake Tasya Panchadham Setu Vate Kshetrangika Mitha. So now the first kshetram was the what was the one that was explained? Panchali, right? Then the next was Panchalika. The second Durga that is explained here is after the Kshetrangika, which was already explained as part of the original description of the circle. Then Pura Hayasuram Hatva Gatayajñas Aswada Vide Tasya Yami Dasam Shet. So that Kshetrangi Durga once again was been installed by Brahma when he had gone to the war with Hayasura, and having killed Hayasura, he did an Ashwamedha Yagam, and at the time of that Ashwamedha Yagam, Brahma had established that temple. So Pura Hayasuram Hatva Gata Yajna Aswada Vide Tasya. So he had that is the explanation for the Kshetrangika temple. Then continuing, Tasya Yamye. Yamye is south of that temple. So don't worry about the direction. Dasamse though, then Dasamse means 1/10 of a mile. Tasya Yamye Dasamse though, Chandika Kambudarini, Harim Tatra Samaradya, Vitnuna Shankadarini. That Kambu is also called Shankam, right? So Kambudharini, the one who gave the Shankam to Mahavishnu, when Harim Tatra Samaradya Vishnuna Shankhadarani. So Vishnu prayed to that Durga and she gave him the conch, and therefore she is called Kambudharani. Then Tasya Agneyat Chatvaristam Matraha Banambike Vikyada Tad Grama Parirakshini. In all the villages, you have the Kshetrapalini or the village protector that we call the Mariamma in Tamil. So that type of temple, that temple is called Banambika. Banambike Vikyada Tad Grama Parirakshini Tashyayam Idu Vedamshe Punyakoti Ishvara Shivaha. So now we have completed the description of the four Durgas. The four Durgas are, first one is the Panchalika. The second one is the Kshetrangika. The third one is Kambudharini. And the fourth one is Shankadarini, sorry, Banambika. So four Durgas in that Vishnu Kshetram, so, which is also called the Punyakoti Kshetram. So one Vigneshwara, one Kartikeya, and four Durgas have been explained so far. Continuing, now they will describe all the Shiva Kshetram in that area. Tasya Yam Yetu Vedamse Punyakoteeshwara Shivaha Brahmana Aradita Purvam Swayambhuhu Parameshwaraha. So that Punyakoteeshwara is a Kshetram of the Shiva, is a Swayambhu Kshetram, and it was in that place Brahma worshipped Shiva. So, Punyakoti Tashyayami to the Edamshe, Punyakoti Ishvara Shiva, Brahmana Aradita Purvam Swayambhu Parameshwara. Tasya Vayavya Digbhage Manikanteshwara Shiva. So, in addition to that Punyakoti Ishvara Shiva, the second Shiva shrine which is there in the town is called Manikanteshwara Shiva. So, Pura Vidya Ashwamedhaya Data Vagdaro Haraha Tasya Saumi Dasam Setu. Okay, so in this temple, where in the Manikanteshwara's temple, when Ashwamedha, that Brahma did Ashwamedha Kshetram, he went to pray there. Then Tasya Saumye Dasam Setu Satyanateshwara Shivaha Shakrena Araditaha Purvam Indraya Akshi Sahasradaha. So that when Indra had worshipped Parameshwara there, and through his prayers, he obtained his 1,000 eyes. So there is another story which you can mark, and we will talk about it later. Shakrena Aradita Purvam Indrasya Akshi Sahasraha. Indra got 1,000 eyes by praying to this Satyanatha Ishvara Shiva in Kanchipuram. So we have those are the Shivas there. Punyakoteshwarar, Manikanteshwarar, Satyanadeshwarar. So the three Shiva Kshetrams. So one Vigneshwara, one Skanda, 4 Durgas, and 3 Shiva Kshetras were explained. Now we come to the Mahavishnu Kshetras, which are in this in and around Vardaraja temple, which is Tasya Uttare Dvadasamse Haristatra Digambaraha. There's a temple called Digambara Hari, which is a Vishnu temple, Digambara Hari. Then Pura Vani Darpaharo Moolavachayana Kritihi Tasya Brahmautu. So in the temple, in the Digambara Hari, Vani Darpaharo. So in order to remove the pride of Saraswati, Moolava Chayanakriti, that Moolava in the temple, the Mahavishnu is in the that is Saraswati's Darpa Haranam took place. Darpa Haranam means the pride was destroyed. So that that Kshetram there, Mahavishnu is worshipped in the form where he is lying, not standing or sitting, in lying state. So Chayana Akritihi. Then Tasya Brahmautu Panchamshe Guha Simho Janardana. So there is a Guha Simha Janardana. So that is the next temple, Guha Simha Vishnu temple. There, Mahendra Friend Madhyagato Mahendrenaiva Pujitaha. So it was that place where in that Mahavishnu, which is the Guha Simha Vishnu, was worshipped by Indra. Then Tan Nairurtetu Panchamse Vishnu Ashtabhujakvaya. That is Ashtabhuja Vishnu temple. Then Maya Kalim Chitautripya Tasya Mudni Nipannakaha. So Maya, the Kali was, he fell down, and Brahma, Mahavishnu sat on her head. I don't know that story, but that is what is written out here. Maya Kalim Chitautripya Tasya Murdin Nishannakaha. He sat on her head. That is what the story says. Tasya Vatetu Panchamshe Vidyakunta iti Sutaha. And another Vishnu temple, which is called Vidyakundam. So Vidyakunda Vishnu. Saraswati Achitakara Tasya Manapradayakaha. In that Vidyakundam, Saraswati worshipped Mahavishnu and got rid of her curse, which was previously told in the Guhasimha Vishnu temple. So, Saraswat Architakara Tasya Mana Pradayaka Tasya Dakshe tu Panchamshe Tatra Simho Janardanaha. There is a Narasimha temple. Continuing on that circle, there is a Narasimha temple there. Then Pura Kapalikam Hatva Jiryadat Udarad. So anyway, so there he a killing of Kapalika took place, and Narasimha, he having killed that Kapalika, he drank his blood in the temple. So Pura Kapalikam Hatva Jiryadat Srodhara Anvitaha. So that means he was drinking his blood there in that kshetram. Then Tasya Uttaretu Saptamshe Deepadara Janardana. Deepadara Janardana means the Janardana is holding a deepam in his hand. So Deepadara Janardana. That is the next temple. Then Pura Maya Nalam Hatva Deepavat Karodha. So one Maya Nalam means Maya Agni. So Pura Maya Nalam Hatva Deepavadat Karod. So he took the Deepam in his hand. So he is the Deepadhara Janardana. Then Taishya Ekavimshe Somyetu Vaikunta Nilayo Harihi. Then there is another temple called Vaikunta Hari. Then Pura Thundira Bhupaya Krita Vaikunta Darshana. That Vaikunta Hari temple was established by one of the kings of the Tundira Vamsham, and there he worshipped Mahavishnu. Therefore, the temple is called Vaikuntahari. Tasya Saumyetu Panchamse Vidramabo Janardanaha. So, Pura Daityodara Datta Panad. So, here, one more time, this Vidramaba Janardana is that is one more case of the Mahavishnu who killed all the Asuras, Daityodara Rakta Prabhanvita. So because he killed the Daityas and drank their blood, his lips are very red there. So Tasyacha Agnaye Digbage Shatchatwarim Sadam Sake Pushpa Pushpas पुष्पशुश्रूपया भूमिः प्रतिं प्राप्ता चतुर्भुजं तस्य पूरयितुजैकांशे Rukma Rajata Vigraha. So we'll come to the mudras later. So in and around this Varadaraja temple, these are the various Mahavishnu Kshetrams that are there, starting with Digambara Hari, Guhasimha Vishnu, then Ashtabhuja Vishnu, then Vidyakunta Hari, then Narasimha Hari, so Deepadhara Janardana, then Vaikunta Hari, then Vedrumaba Hari. So these are all the eight kshetrams for Vishnu kshetrams, which are in and around the Varadaraja complex. Then Pushpa Susrupa Bhumihi Pratim Praptha Chadarbhujam. That with all these temples around him, that Sri Varadaraja is with four hands. Prapta Chaturbhujam Pushpa Srishropaya Bhumihi. So the Bhuma Devi, she is worshipping him in that place. And in this way, Sri Varadaraja is seated in that Harikshetram. Tasya Purveto Chekam. So the temples, Harikshetrams were explained, Shiva Kshetrams were explained, Durga Kshetrams were explained. Now the various mudras, their various symbols are explained here. Tasya Purve tu Chaikamshe Rugma Rajata Vigraha. So there is two silver vigrahams are there. Rugma Rajata Vigraho Pura Shakrena Vinyasto Tau Dvije in addition to the silver Pura by having been established by Indra, there are two silver vigrahams of what do you call lizards in that Varadaraja temple. So Sakrena Vinyasto Tau Dvijau Palli Yugmakau. Yugma means two. So two silver lizard symbols are there in the Varadaraja temple. Then there are Tayor Yamyetu Chaikamshe Saupanam Tattva Samyakam. So that in addition to the two lizards, there is the 24 steps. Saupanam Tat Tattva Sankhyakam. Tattva Sankhyakam. So some people say there are 24 tattvas, some people say there are 36 tattvas. In this case, you have to take it as 24 tattvas accordingly. So Tattva Sankhyakam. So Tayor Yamyetu Chaikamshe Sopanam Tattva Sankhyakam Pura Margaya Tachile Rachitam Devashilpina. So in that place, it was what do you call Vishwakarma had established those 24 steps. Satya Pratichyam Yekamshe Mahadevi Padmaja Vivahartam Harim Prapya Vishnor what is it? Vishnor Ardhasanam Gata. Vishnor Ardhasanam Gata. So that there is the Vivahartam Harim. So Vishnu having got married to Mahadevi. So Vishnu Ardhasanam. So there is, I think by Ardhasanam they mean sitting on the lap of Mahavishnu. So Tasya Pratichyam Ekamshe Mahadevi iti Padmaja Vivahartam Harim Prapya Vishnor Ardhasanam Gatha. She is in Mahalakshmi is in the Ardhasanam position there. Then Tasya Shaishanam Agasti Punyakoti Vimanakam. So there is Tasyascha Ishanamasya. So the northeast direction, if you go there, you can see a Punyakoti Vimanam in that temple. So these are the 5 symbols. Then the silver vigrahams, then the 24 steps, then Mahadevi, who is seated in the there is a Ardhasana position, and the Punyakoti Vimanam. These are the mudras that are explained in that Varadaraja temple. Then they proceed to describe the 4 tirthas in that area. Pura Tattva Pura Tattva Adiseshasya Viswadarana Satvadam Darsana Sarva Papagnam Swashanat Vaishnava Pradam Mandavare Tvanastasya Palakar Tatpurarapa Asmin Vare to Yasnaya Kaveri Palamagbavet. So there is one Tirtham. That Tirtham is what created by Adisesha, Pura Tattva, Adiseshaya, Viswadharana Samvadam. So the Adisesha who had got the power to carry the world, in order to that Adisesha, Darsana, that was created by the Adisesha, that Tirtham, which is called Ananta Saras, and in that Ananta Saras, Darshanat Sarva Pabagnam, Swarpanat Vaishnava Pradam. Even if you just have a darshanam of that Saras, you get in all your sins are removed. Swarpanat Vaishnava Pradam. If you just wash your feet there, you get Vaishnava Pradam. You can Vishnu Lokam. Mandavare Tvanastasya Palakra Tatpura Rupa. If you take bath in that Ananta Saras on Saturdays, then you get as much phalam as you have taken a dip in the river Kaveri. Ashmin Varet Yasnaya Kaveri Phalamag Bhavet. Iti Tirthaya Seshene Varodatte Rupotama. Okay. Then Tasya Vate Dwadasamse Tirtha Bhaktodaya. There's a saras called Bhaktodayam. Tasya Vate Dwadasamse Tirtham Bhaktodaya Bitam Aste Tad Vishnu Bhaktanam Vishnu Darshanadhayakam. So Darshanarth the Sarvapabhagnam Swashanarth Vishnu. So same concept. You can by going and taking bath in that place, you get Vishnu Darshanam, and then you reach Vaikuntha Lokam. Then on that place, Ekadashyam to the Totye, yes Snanayan Rapeshwara, Tasmai Deyat Devaraja Ksheerabdi Jampalam, as though you get the phalan, as though you have taken bath in the Ksheerasagara itself. So you have to take bath in that place on Ekadashi Desh. So these are all just explanations. Then पुरातीर्थाय भक्तैस्तु वरोदत्ते महीपते तस्य सौम्ये then तस्य सौम्येदस्य अष्टांशे तीर्थं पौरन्दराभिधं. So the next kshetra, next tirtham is called the Paurandara Tirtham or the Indra Tirtham. That Indra Tirtham Pura tad Devarajasya Sahasra Naina Pradam. So in order to get that 1,000 eyes, he had been praying to Parameshwara. That time he created the Tirtham, Darshanat Sarvapavagnam, Swashanat Vaishnava Pradam, Budavare Mahendrasya, Parakritat Kalatat Puranpa, Tasmin Varayatu Yasnayar, Yamuna Palam Agbhavet. So it is as though you have taken bath in the Yamuna river, but you have to take bath in that river on Wednesdays. So one is Saturday, one is Ekadashi, and one is Wednesday. So Budavari Mahendrasya Palakrataturadrupe Yashvinvari to Isnayad Yamuna Palamabhadve Pura Tirthaya Devendro Labda Kamo Varam Dado. So he gave that blessing to that place, having obtained his 1,000 eyes. At that time, having been satisfied that he got his prayers fulfilled, he gave that varam to that tirtham. And then the final tirtham is Panchavimsha Sadastasya Vahnau Panchalika Payam. So the Panchalika Tirtham there, Tatra Tirthe Kalikayi, Vishnu Dattam Sudarshanam, Vishnu Dattam Sudarshanam, Durgayas Shravanau Rikshe, Palakratapura. So in that Panchali Tirtham, which was where Sri Vishnu Dattam Sudarshanam. So she was blessed by she gave to the Sudarshanam to Vishnu. So Tatra Tirtham Kalikaye Vishnu Dattam Sudarshanam Durgaya Shravano Rukshe Palakritat Prapra Sravishtayam to Yasnaya Vinas Viraja Snana Punyabak Prathaya Tazitaya Iditato Varai. So that place is blessed, as though that if you take to bath in that place on Sravishta Nakshatra days, you get the phalan as though you have taken bath in the Viraja river itself. Sravishtayam to Yasnaya Viraja Snana Punyabha Purathaya Chatirthaya Idi Datto Varedrupaha. In this way, so the four tirthas that are there in that in and around Vardaraja temple are explained: Indra Tirtham, Panchali Tirtham, then what is that? Ananta Saras, and then Bhaktodesharas. So Ananta Saras, Bhaktodesharas, Indra Tirtham, and Panchalika Tirtham. So far, as you can see, all of these are just descriptions of the various important places in and around that Vardaraja temple. Evam Kramat Harikshetre Eko Vigneshwaras Tatha Skandasya Eko Vigneshwara Tata Skanda. So one Vigneshwara Kshetram and one Skanda Kshetram. Then Chatur Durga Shrayo, 4 Durga Kshetram, Trayo Rudra, 3 Shivas Kshetram, Artho Janardhana Ashtau. Then there are 8 Mahavishnu Kshetra, Mudra Tutat Panche Mudras, and Chatus Tirthan Anukramad, 4 Tirthas in order we have described. Adyapi Shasana Vishnor Vartante Tad Dharathale. In that place, these are all the various sacred places that are located in and around Sri Vardaraja temple. So, having this, because of this combination of so many sacred places, ye vasantihi tat kshetre sarve vaikunta vasinahe tasmat bhuloka vaikuntam kancham agneya bhutalam. So that place, since all these sacred places are located in and around the temple, That place is called, it's Bhuloka Vaikuntham. Ye vasanti tat kshetre sarve Vaikunta vasinah tasmat Bhuloka Vaikuntham Kancham Agneya Bhuthalam tasya kshetrasya suratha Panchanamani Bhutale Harikshetram Punyakoti Kshetram Vaikuntham Hastigirinath. So Hasti Kshetram. So for they've got 5 names. Harikshetram, Punyakoti Kshetram, Bhuloka Vaikuntham, Hastigirinath Kshetram, and then Hasti Kshetram and Trisrotha iti, Trisrotha Kshetram. So it is otherwise, so these are the 5 names of the Kshetram. Tasya Kshetrasya Surata, Panchanamani Bhutale, Harikshetram, Punyakoti, Vaikuntham, Hastishailakam, त्रिस्रोत इति पञ्चैतन्नामानि विदितानि च यो वसेत् तत् हरिक्षेत्रे क्षणार्द्रं वा तदर्कं मुच्यते सर्वपापेभ्य साक्षात् विष्णुर्नराकृतिः पुरा तत्क्षेत्रनिलया बहोऽप्युपकारतः निर्जन्म नरकाश्रान्ते गतास्ते वैष्णवं पदम्. So whoever resides in that Harikshetram, even for one day, okay, so, or even for one kshanam. So yovase tad Harikshetre kshanardam va tadardam muchyate sarva papebhya sakshat Vishnur narakriti. So even if you reside there, even for a kshanam, you get the punyam of having you become very blessed, and you are able to go to Vaikuntha Lokam without even Nirjanma Narakashrante. So no chance of your coming back to this earth again, no chance of going to hell. Gataste Vaishnavam Padam. You go to Vaikuntha Lokam. So that is the conclusion of the first part of this chapter, which explains explains the various kshetrams in that Vardaraja temple complex or Sri Vishnu Kanchipuram. Okay. Then to elaborate on the say how holy that place is, they tell a story. Brahmana Upakyanam. They tell the story of a Brahmana whose life was full of sins, but then finally he came to live in this Vishnu Kanchi or the Vaidaraja Kshetram or this Bhuloka Vaikuntham, and how he was so blessed that even though the time of death came and the Yamakinkaras came to take him to Narakam, however, he was intercepted by the emissaries of Mahavishnu, and he was taken to Vishnu Lokam. So for those of you who are familiar with the story of Ajamila in Narayaniyam, then Bhagavatam, or Narayanam, whichever way you take it, this story will sound very similar. So in the case of Ajamila, Ajamila is the Brahmin who is by birth he was okay, and he was okay for some time. However, he goes to the forest and he goes and meets a girl there, and from that time onwards, he gives up all his good habits and he becomes he indulges in all kinds of bad acts. And then that Ajamila, becomes a perfect sinner. Whatever sins are possible in this world, he follows all those sins, and all his good deeds are completely gone. And then eventually he falls sick and he is about to die. And at that time, so he calls his son. He had given the name Narayana, and so at the time of death, he suddenly calls his son with the name Narayana. And now he dies, and his death take place, and then the Yamakinkaras come to take him, and then the Vishnu Dutas also come. And the Yamakinkara say, this fellow deserves only to go to hell. Then why are you guys interrupting this? While we are completing our job. And then the Vishnu emissaries say that, no, not at all, because he just uttered the name of Narayana once. And when he uttered the name of Narayana, all his sins were completely absolved. That is the story of Ajamila. Ajamila Upagyanam, as told in Bhagavatam and in Narayaniyam. Similar to that, here the story of Harikshetram, the Bulog Vaikuntham, is explained. So just follow the story. Teshu Kaschit Pura Vipra Sindhu Tira Nivasaka hai वशिष्ठ गोत्र संभूतो ऋग्वेदी बाणकुंडक है न बाणकुंडक है नामना गर्गी गर्गी रीति ख्यात है तस्य पापी ही न कर्मक है. So his location they're saying that this fellow who was he, his name was Gargi. He is a Rigvedi. He was living in the Banakunda town and he was of Vasishta Gotram, and it was the place that Banakundam is near in the Sindhu Tiram. So somewhere in the west. So Teshu Kaschit Pura Vipra. He is a Brahmin. Sindhu Dhira Nivasakaha Vasishta Gotra Sambhutho ऋग्वेदी बाणकुंडकः नाम्ना गर्गिरथी गर्गीर इति वाक्य इति ख्यातः तस्य इति ख्यातः स पापी हीनकर्मकः. How? What are all the sins? Countless sins. Sandhya hino, na agnihotri, pitrudeva, vivarjitah, no respect for elders, no, not doing sandhyanam, not doing agnihotram. That way all of us are the same. Parartha sangrahe means taking care of, possessing other people's wealth. Parartha sangrahe vidwan, paradharat tasada. So going after other women. So all kinds of paranna bhokta satatam durachara tas sada. So durachara tas sada. So he was following, he was doing all kinds of sins, following all vices. Sa vipra, vipracha, okay, so he comes to the Dhartri Vrikshe. He goes to the forest. He goes on a journey, and as part of his journey, he comes to a forest. And in the forest, having become very tired, he goes and sits under an amla tree. Amla tree means the gooseberry tree, right? Dhartri Vrikshe Patisthite Aruhye Tatpalam Grihan Tatre Kanchi Djottamam Yatramargatam Drishpa Pipasam Brahmanottamam. So he goes and he sits under the amla tree, and then he sees that there are lots of amla fruits in the tree. So he gathers all the amla fruits. And where is as he is gathers and as he is in the process of gathering, there is a devotee who has from Kanchipuram who is passing that way. Kanchi, that Brahmin. So he is passing that way. Yatrartamagadam drishtva pipasam brahmanottamam. So that Brahmana, he sees that Brahmana, and the Brahmana is asking for, he is saying that he is very thirsty. Dahopasamanarthaya Datri Palam Antamam. So he gives him this one of the amla fruits to that Brahmin. Upasamanamarthaya Datri Palam Anuttamam. Tasmai cha pradadau gargi darshayamasa chodakam. So, in addition to giving him that amla fruit, as soon as you eat the amla fruit, if you drink a lot of water, it becomes even sweeter, and you get completely your thirst is quenched. Accordingly, this Gargi shows him some to a place where there is some water also. Tasmai cha pradadau gargi darshayamasa chodagam tat tatasat palam adhaya kanchi vasi dvijottamah palam muktva jalam pitva tatpalena vichambaya. So that kanchi vasi, having got the amla fruit, he has eaten the amla fruit, he has drunk the water, so he is now fully satisfied of his thirst. Trutpipasa virahito yatrartha sanjogare. He just proceeds, continues on his journey. Having quenched his thirst, he is blessing this Gargi, and he proceeds on his way. So the Chutpipasa Vrahito Yatrartam Sad Vijogataha Ata Garhi Griham Gatpa Palabhara Samanvitaha Sukena Vevasat Tatra Banakundakya Patane. So he goes back to his place, which is Banakundam, and he unloads all his remaining amlas, and then he stays with his family. Sukhena Nevasa, Sukhena Nevasa, Tatra Banakundakya Patane. This is the one incident that happened in his life for just one day only, by which he gave to this Brahmin who was from Kanchipuram, who he happened to meet in the middle of the forest. And that was the amla fruit. He just gives him one amla fruit, and he shows him the direction to the place where there is water. And with that amla fruit and the water, the Brahmin is satisfied. So this is the only good deed that this Gargi did, right? So now, Sakadachid Dvijo Gargi Mritas Tatrang Gananvayat. So he dies eventually. One day he dies. Tato Yamabhatayetya Mahapapiti Vakyatah Badva Vipram Tam Gargam Yamapashena Takshana. So immediately after he dies, the Yamakinkaras come there and they pronounce that this fellow is Mahapapi. Tato Yamabhatayetya Mahapapiti Vakyatah Badva Vipram Tam Gargi Yamapashena Takshana. So they have tied him. They're ready to take him to Narakaloka, to the leader, which is Dharmaraja. And Musalat Thadyan Tatre Yamalokaya Tam Bhataha. So they tie him with the rope, they give him, club him, and then having beaten him, they are getting ready to take him to the Yamadharmaraja. Yamalokaya Tam Bhataha. Jagruhu Tatra Tatkale Samagatya Harirganaha. So Vishnu's emissaries come there at that time. So they say that, what do they say? Tan Bhatamte Samuchatya Nishpapi Bahu Punyaman. So they look at Yamakinkaras and they tell him, oh, you are mistaken. This fellow is not a papi. He is Nishpapi and he is Punyavan. He has done a lot of punyams. So he does not deserve to go to hell. And so, Tan Padhamse Samuchatya Nishpapi Bahupunyavan Ityuktva Gargi Madhaya Yama Pasha Vimochitam. So they tell the Yamakinkara, untie him, you cannot take him to Yamaloka, and he should come with us to Vaikuntha. Because what does the story say? Even if you had lived there for even 1 second, you are eligible to go to Vaikuntha accordingly. Samar Gargimadaya Yamapasha Vimochitam. They completely asked the Yamakinkaras to remove him, to untie him. Samaropya Vimanesve Modeneve Hare Ganaha. So they take him, they put him in the Vimanam, and then they take him directly to Vishnu Lokam. So Samarokya Vimanesve Modeneve Hare Ganaha Vishnu Lokam Samasadya Padabje Ayojayan Hare. So they take him directly to Mahavishnu, and ask him to surrender to Sri Mahavishnu at his feet. The Padabja Ayojayan Hare. Tata Pitrupati Sritva Vishnu Dutai Hritam Jatam Swapasha Bandhanan Muktam Anetam Kopa Sanyudaha. So now the Yamakinkaras go to Yamadharmaraja and tell him that this is what happened. We wanted to bring him to the Yamaloka. However, the Vishnu's emissaries came and took him away. And this is the story. So Yamadharmaraja hears this story and he becomes very angry. He becomes very angry. Tadapitrupati Strudva Vishnu Dutai Kritam Chatam स्वपाश बंधनात् मुक्त मानेतुं कोपसंयुतः तत्क्षणात् प्राप्य वैकुंठम विप्रम विष्णुपदाश्रितम. So he goes to Mahavishnu and says, no, what you are doing is not right. This fellow is a Mahapapi and he should have been punished. how come you, Vishnu, interrupted in me performing my duties? And why did you bring him to your Vishnu lokam? Drishtva dandadarah praha Vishnu tatkshanir ratham. So Vishnu Mahavishnu tried to pacify him because he is looking at this Yamadharmaraja, and he says, he thinks that this Yamadharmaraja is very angry. So in order to pacify him, he told, the conversation takes place between Yamadharmaraja and Vishnu. Yama uvacha, Yesha papi dijo bhakta sada satkarma varjitah na kadajit punya bhukta karmahino dvijatamah tasmat vimuchitam vipro narakaya tvaya hare. Hey Mahavishnu, don't even, you are mistaken. This fellow is a great papi. He does not deserve to go to Vishnu Lokam. So there's not even an ounce of punyam in him. He is a karma, he is a sinner. And Dvija Adamaha, he brings bad name to Brahmins. So Tasmat Vimuchyatam Vipro. So leave him, and I want to take him to Narakaloka. So Bhagwan Uvacha, says Mahavishnu says, Bhumandale Harikshetre Ye Vasanti Dvijottamaha Aham Yevahi Te Sarve Tasmat Kshetravasine. So whoever is residing in the Harikshetram, they become one with me accordingly. Tasmat Kshetravasine Dhatri Palam Madat Ekam Paniyam Dvijanmane. So this fellow gave to one of those Kshetravasis, whoever had been residing in that Kanchipuram, to one of those devotees. This fellow, even though he has himself not lived there, he gave the amla fruit and the water to one of those devotees. Tat tata तत्फलम् आदाय भुक्त्वा तद्विजं पुङ्गवः पीत्वा तीर्थदाहशान्त्यै यात्रार्थं स द्विजो गतः तत्फलं चापि यत् कृष्णौ दाहशान्त्या प्रशिष्यते तस्य. So all that he did was he gave that fruit and water to that devotee. Accordingly, he also gets the same punyam as if he has lived in that Harishetram. Tasya punya prabhavena nishpava samudayam. So accordingly, he also is rid of all his sins, and he is considered having been rid of all papas, and he becomes a punyavan. Nishpapa samubodhyayam. Mama bhakto dvijasreshta sada satkarma samyutah. So he becomes the punyavan. So tasmad tasyatu dharmesha narako nasti kachana. So therefore, see, because he is not having any papam attached to him, you cannot take him to Narakaloka or Yamagaloka. Tasmat tvam gaccha shigrene bhavanam dharmarajate. So I order you to go back to your Yamaloka and leave him alone here. Ityakarne yamastatra prananama harimtada. So Yamadharmaraja also paid his respects and went back to his own abode. Vipram chapi pranamyata yamas swabanam yayo tasmat tatra harikshetre. So this Brahmin also, that Brahmin who was originally a sinner, having been rid of all his sins, he went to stay on in this Vaikuntha Lokam. Tasmat Bhuloka Vaikuntam Harikshetra Dharadharam Yadat Rahasyamakhyadam Harikshetra Prakashakam. This is the secret of Harikshetram, and accordingly that Kshetram is called Bhuloka Vaikuntam. This is the Rahasyam of that, this is the secret of that Harikshetram. So, Tasma Bhuloka Vaikuntam Harikshetra Dharadhalam Yadat Rahasyamakhyadam Harikshetra Prakashakam Ye Patet Shunyat Nityam Imam, sorry, Nitya Nityam Imam Madhya Adharat Harikshetra Nivasena Yat Palam Tat Palam. So whoever reads the story, whoever listens to this story, they also become eligible to, as though they have lived in the Bhulaka Vaikuntham, and they get the same benefits as the ones, this Vipra, who was rid of all his sins. In this way, iti Sri Markandeya Purane Sri Vidya Kande Kamakshi Vilase Harikshetra Mahamya Kathanam Nama Dvitiyo Dhyayah. So this is the explanation of the importance of the Sri Varadaraja Kshetram, which is called the Punya Bhuloka Vaikuntham. So the two parts of this particular chapter. The first part is the description of the temples in the Varadaraja Kshetra, the Vishnu Kanchipuram, and these how blessed that place is was explained through the story of the Vipra who was called Gargi. That is the second chapter. The third, fourth, and also will be like that only. Not much happening, but the explanation of the various places in Kanchipuram. Okay, so we will see you in the next class. Next class, we are here more. We are here. Right? So one more week I'm here. After that, for a couple of weeks, I'm not there. So next week we will meet. Okay. Namaskar. Bye.
Thank you, Mama.
Namaskaram, Mama.
Namaskaram.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Namaskaram, sir.
Namaskaram, sir.